Welcome, everyone. So now we're going to find what is secant of t if sine t is negative 12 over 13 and t is in quadrant 4. So for something like this, we're going to be using our trigonometric identities to help us evaluate a specific trig function. So recall the following identity. So we know that sine square of t plus cosine square of t is equal to 1. We're assuming t is the angle. And there are other identities that you can also refer to. For example, we also have secant square of t is equal to 1 plus tangent square of t. That's another identity, is also very useful. Another identity you can also remember is this one. Cosecant square of t is equal to 1 plus cotangent square of t. All right, so hold on to these thoughts. Now let's take a look at this problem. So we want to know what is secant of t if sine of t is this value and t is located in quadrant 4. So note that secant is defined as 1 over cosine of t. So if we can find cosine of t and reciprocate that value, we get the secant of t. So let's use this identity to find cosine. Now you could use this one too, since secant is there, but I would prefer to use this one and then see if we can find cosine, reciprocate that value, that gives you secant. Now, another thing you also want to keep in mind that on a fourth quadrant, so this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, this is quadrant 4. On the fourth quadrant, we know cosine is positive. How do I know that? Well, we usually remember this acronym, ASTC. Well, C means that cosine and secant are positive in this quadrant. Anything else, the remaining 4 trig functions are going to be negative. So you could draw a triangle inside that quadrant, but I'm going to show you how to use the identity to find the specific trig value. So we know that sine square of t plus cosine square of t is equal to 1. So I'm going to substitute this sine value into this trigonometric function. So we know this is going to be negative 12 over 13 squared because that's sine. We're looking for cosine. So let's rewrite cosine squared t is equal to 1. And now we can square 12 and square 13. There will be 144 over 169 plus cosine squared t is equal to 1. Now, algebraically, I'm going to go ahead and subtract this value on both sides so that I can isolate cosine square of t. So this will give us cosine square of t is equal to 1 minus 144 over 169. Now here you put these two in common fraction so that way you can subtract their values. So you would multiply this value by 169 over 169. So now 169 minus 144, you'll have 25 over 169 is equal to cosine square of t. Now to solve for cosine, we're going to simply take the square root on both sides, but don't forget that you got two values, plus and minus. So this is going to equal cosine of t is equal to plus and minus. I can simplify square root of 25 as 5 and 169 as 13. All right, now we need to decide which of these we want. Now, since we're on the fourth quadrant, we know cosine is positive, so we will select the positive value for this one. So since we're in quadrant 4, we know that cosine of t is going to be positive 5 over 13. All right, so then what is secant? Well, we reciprocate this. So we know that secant of t is going to be 1 over cosine of t. So if I reciprocate 5 over 13, I get 13 over 5. So that is the value for secant of t from the given information. All right, I hope this makes sense. Take care, everyone.